Welcome to the WHHI News. I'm Allie McNair. On this edition of our news, we've got some great information on tips for the holidays as well as great events coming up. We're back with more on the WHHI News. Holiday time is a great time for scammers to try to get some money from you. So we're going to give you some advice courtesy of the Department of Consumer Affairs and Scott Cooke. Scott, let's start with online shopping and what kinds of things can happen and what advice you have.
Yeah, we're all kind of out on our phones, probably on social media, clicking around, and now's the time when those scammers are really kind of amping up a lot of their social media ads, especially. They'll pay for advertisements either on social media or on some of those online search websites and things like that. So we really want to encourage folks, if you don't recognize the name of that website, maybe don't trust it. Do a little bit of research on the front end of that before you start putting in your payment information. So if you're seeing, ads for something that just seems unreal or, too good to be true, is that kind of cliche that we always use, but just kind of think about those things. If they're websites that you're not recognizing the name, do a little bit of research. Maybe put the name in a search site and put the word complain after it, or put the word scam after it and see what comes up. And a lot of times as you're doing that, you'll kind of see a lot of those red flags from other people who say something has gone wrong with their purchases.
Right, they'll say things like, stay away, I never got my item, et cetera, and so forth. I'm just going to relay one personal experience. I have a friend who doesn't feel comfortable ordering online, but then she'll wait till we have coffee and have me help her do it. So this has happened before to her, but she saw something on Facebook, really wanted this sweater. So the company name was there. I put it in my phone, which alerts me if it's a malicious website or something's going on. I got some kind of alert. I said, I don't know about this, Barb, and she didn't have that kind of thing installed on her phone. So then I put in, exactly as you said, I Googled the company name and scams, and you would not believe what came up. And she was relieved because she was already, as you say, to put in her address information, her bank card information, and off it would have gone, never to be seen. And gosh knows what else it would be used for. Speaking of which, I want to ask you, if I use a bank card or credit card, is it wise this time of year, especially if you've ordered online, to maybe check those accounts on occasion and see what kind of activity is going on?
Absolutely. You always want to monitor those accounts, see what else may have popped in, especially if you're using websites that you're maybe not too familiar with. You want to just make sure all that data, is being secure and somebody legitimately is still using it. And, we also like to remind folks, use those credit cards for those online shoppings. If you're using a credit card, it's got a lot more protections under federal law. So if you've got a problem, they're going to do a little bit of legwork, investigate it, and get you that money onto your account pretty quickly. A lot of those times with debit cards, that's a direct line into those checking and savings accounts, and you might be held liable for a little bit more money with that. So just kind of keep that in mind. You want to use those credit cards whenever you're shopping on these websites.
That, I think, is excellent advice and something I will pass on to my friend because I think she uses her debit card, and that is scary because if someone gets access to that account, goodness knows what could happen. What about clicking on things? If I get an email, again, for some item I really think I want, and the deal sounds really good and I've got to click to find out more, should I avoid clicking on that link, Scott?
We always tell people don't click on those links that are coming to you in those emails and text messages and all the wild stuff that's out there. You really want to put in that information yourself. So if you're getting information about a sale on a particular website, maybe type in that website yourself, especially if it's, one of these stores that and I'll use Amazon as an example with that because Amazon's probably the world's most impersonated business out there. So we know scammers like to pretend to be them, and they do that because we all probably have an account with them or have used them at some point in time. So, scammers love to be those businesses that you recognize that name from time to time. So, if you're getting those email messages, maybe go to those websites yourself and then search for that product and make sure that deal is legitimate.
That is excellent advice. I know on occasion when I've gotten something suspect, what I'll do is click on the from name, and you'll see it has nothing with Amazon on it or anything else. It's some kind of bizarre name or something, or email address, I don't know. That's another way, but your advice is much better. Just go to the direct website rather than clicking on that link. The other thing I've been getting a ton of lately, I don't know if you've heard of this, this is not shopping-wise, but we're almost out of time, is I keep getting notifications my iCloud storage is almost used up, which is not the case. And click on this and da-da, you've got to pay for more storage. People have been getting those kinds of things too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of that same rule too. If you're getting pop-ups or anything that's coming up, especially tech support kind of related stuff, you know, think about if you actually have that service or any of those kinds of things. And we always tell people you don't want to call those phone numbers that are listed on those messages. You don't want to click the links. If you actually have that service, kind of go in, you know, through the ways you normally would and look to see if that's legitimate or not.
Well, Scott Cooke, Department of Consumer Affairs for the state of South Carolina. Great advice as always, and happy holidays to you.
And thank you.
And we will be back in just a moment.